What is up, guys and gals? Welcome to another episode of the Nonstop Review. I'm your host, as always, Devon, and joining me equally as always is Rick.
Hello, everyone.
Those of you familiar with the podcast know we don't like to mince words here. However, today we're doing the retrospective of the entirety of Season 4, which means we're doing nothing but mince words.
Yep. We're mincing the whole way through.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, for those of you who haven't watched one of our non-stop retrospectives before, I'll just give you a bit of a breakdown. We look at the episodes and look more at our leaderboard and how it ended up. Sometimes we make predictions before the season starts, sometimes we don't. This time we didn't really. That being said, I don't think we could have predicted our final three when we finally got here, but we'll do that at the end of the episode. First things first, Rick, do you remember who the first two MVP awards were we gave?
I do not. I assume it's Peridot.
You got one of them.
I think Jasper might have been the other one.
Nah, I don't think Jasper actually showed up in this season.
Yeah, fair enough. It was like a gem monster, wasn't it? So it's, was it Smoky Quartz?
No, it was Steven. It was Steven Universe.
Okay, it was Steven. Okay.
Yeah.
As of last season, we're firmly in. Steven gets the MVP a lot more these seasons.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, like, the only time he wasn't in the top... Like, I mean, even in the first season, he was in the top 3. It's just Garnet did a fucking lot of heavy lifting in Season 2.
Yeah, she very much did.
Yeah. I'll tell you this, Rick. I'm looking at the episode list to just jog my memory a bit, and I've forgotten so much of the first half of this season, because a lot of it was... I wouldn't say it wasn't good, it was certainly fun, especially at the time, but I didn't care about certain episodes, such as Future Boys Ultron and Onion Gang.
Yeah, I think this episode was the one that had a lot more towny episodes than normal. Some of them were okay, some of them were better than I remembered, but yeah, it was very towny focused.
And considering what's going to happen next season, I get it.
Yeah, like the finale season is next season. I think at this point they knew that was coming, so they wanted to get as much slice of life out of the way as possible while stalling for time before things actually start happening. But yeah, the first episode I think is more of a continuation of season 2 than anything else, and then they take the foot off the gas real hard.
I mean, next episode 2 is literally straight up a fun episode which pretty much existed just so we had an excuse to see Sardonyx again.
Yeah. And Sardonyx being sarcastic and going, "Oh yeah, have a look at this. This is Nicki Minaj. Let's not pay her because we just used the same voice clip again."
I think it's one of those as well where I did a bit of digging, and apparently Nicki Minaj wasn't quite as big of a name when she did the voice originally.
Yeah.
So that's why it wasn't an issue. But
second time round.
Yeah. Yeah. By the by, I don't know anything about Nicki Minaj. I know she's a singer, and that's about it. It's not my type of music, and that's fine.
Another meme of "Do not feed Nicki Minaj after dark."
Okay. Well, because she becomes fucking... What's their fusion name?
What, the Mogwai?
No, the fucking fusion that she voices, Rick. What do they call the Gremlins in Gremlins?
What do they call them things in Gremlins? Yeah. Is it
Sujolite? Does that sound right?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that's the one. Sujolite. Yeah.
No, I've never actually seen them because they appeared exclusively in season 1, which I've not watched most of.
Yeah, and a little bit after the Pearl doing the getting addicted to Garnet fusion arc.
Yeah, but she didn't
from last season.
She was in there for 2 seconds.
Yeah, just to solve the thing that needed solving because apparently Pearl couldn't be trusted.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, this season's been interesting because we've actually given out a lot more awards to people more than once. I worded that good. But what I mean by that is in a lot of our in our 2 other seasons of Nonstop, we gave out a lot of single awards, which means a lot of the MVP board actually just got knocked off because we only have 15 spots on the board. But yeah, it takes a while for us to get to the one-off characters where we only award once. I think the first character we give a point to, and only a point, was Blue Diamond.
Yes. And I can't remember which one of us gave it. But
I gave it to Blue Diamond, and I believe you gave it to Greg, because Greg was the other award recipient for that episode. No, wait.
Sure.
You gave it to Blue Diamond, I gave it to Greg.
Okay.
Although, in hindsight, I am very annoyed with us for not giving Blue Diamond enough points to stay on the board, but I also thought she was going to show up more.
Yeah. I think the only other time she shows up is when we both give Yellow Diamond an award, because Yellow Diamond actually sings the song, and Blue Diamond is the recipient of the song, and that's all she is in that episode.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But yeah, let's fast forward a little bit, shall we?
Yeah.
We let's fast forward to the 2-part episode, shall we? Where is it? fuck it, I'll find it the old-fashioned way.
Oh yeah, it's Gem Harvest number 8.
Yeah, okay, episode 8 and 9. Because in that one we gave what's his name, DeMaio, 3 points.
Yeah, because it was a double-length episode, we were essentially able to give out 2 awards, and I forgot his name, DeMaio, but yeah, he was such a pivotal role in that episode, or both episodes, that he deserved at least 1 award from each of us, and obviously one of us gave 2 of them.
Yeah, I gave him both awards because I really liked seeing a character with that mindset actually grow and learn. You gave him 1 award because you felt like Lapis deserved the other one of your awards to give out, which is fine.
Yeah.
But it really was a DeMaio episode.
Yeah. Yeah, I was aware that Room for Ruby was part of this season, and when I saw Gem Harvest, I was like, oh man, this might be my favourite episode of the season, and then turned out to be this one, and Room for Ruby was a lot later.
Yeah, it was.
Because, the title of the episode could mean basically the same idea of you have gems on the farm, and it's a farm episode with Lapis and Peridot doing something funny.
Sure. Weirdly enough, I was already kind of aware of DeMaio's existence because I'd seen clips, but I'd never seen the whole episode before. There's a lot of meat between this point and on, because we're going to jump forward about 10 episodes, but it's one of those where the highlight of the series is in fact the middle, where we get the miniature arc of oh no, Greg's been kidnapped, let's save Greg, and then we get to see that, Pink Diamond wasn't always as benevolent, shall we say, as people like to remember, in that her initial idea for preserving Earth was to make a human zoo, so that there were still some things from Earth left alive after she obliterated the planet.
Yeah, like, she knew that she had a colony. She knew that what gems do to colonies, they just turn them into husks as they mine them of all their resources and turn them into gems. She kind of likes the things that lives there, so she wanted to keep a little bit of that. But apparently the only thing that she thought was worth keeping was the humans, because she didn't keep any of the lions. She just turned one of them into an immortal one.
It's one of those where I'm sure if she kept going down the path she was, instead of going the Rebellion Rose Quartz route, she probably would have eventually expanded to more than just humans, because boy is that space station big for just one little group of humans.
Yeah, it is.
It's one of those. We end this saga with a fun little episode, the New Crystal Gems, which was Connie, Lapis, and Peridot basically LARPing.
Yeah. And they're the way that they actually solve things is stopping pretending to be the other 3 and just actually using their own powers. Which, we knew that was how it was going to go, but
Yeah. It was fun seeing them take the piss out of their friends, though.
Yep.
But yeah, we get the New Crystal Gems, which is a nice, light, fluffy episode. We then got Storm in the Room, which was a super serious fucking 10-minute episode. And then after that fucking plot bomb, we get a bunch of towny shit again.
Yeah. Rocknaldo, Town of Tiger Philanthropist, Room for Ruby, and then Lion 4.
Yeah, Room for Ruby.
Even Dugout.
Dugout was, yeah. Well, to be fair, Dugout and The Good Laws are towny episodes. They just have stingers.
Yes.
But yeah, I do want to talk about Room for Ruby a bit, because I'm still not fucking over it, because I don't feel like the Crooniverse tricked me. I feel like you tricked me.
Yes.
Because I still remember, and I said it in the episode from about 3 minutes before the end of the episode, I don't think this Ruby can't possibly stick around, because people are always sharing stuff between Peridot and Lapis, and they don't mention a Ruby. And then 2 minutes later, she fucks off into space, and it's like, that's why. I felt really hard done by, and not even by the show, by you, my colleague and co-worker.
Yeah, I needed to keep it a secret because obviously, she does leave, and me just spoiling the spoiler is something that I have done in the past, and I'm trying to not do it. But yeah, she doesn't stick around.
No shit. Lapis entirely vindicated by the end of the episode, and we also got that cute moment that I'll always bring up of Garnet with the 2 balloons because she wasn't sure what was going to happen.
Yep. She just pops the welcome aboard balloon.
Yeah. We get a lion episode. It gives us a bit of fluffy plot in that Rose didn't know what gender her child was going to be, so she made a video for both because she knew she wouldn't be there once they were born. We get towny episodes for 2 episodes, which end with the stinger of, as we know now, Aquamarine and Topaz doing some shady shit. And we get the final 2 episodes, which are pretty fucking heavy.
Are You My Dad?
And I Am My Mum. And
yep.
Yeah, they're good. They are solid episodes, and they've definitely set up what's going to happen for next season. I'm eager for next season, as I've said many times before now. I know season 5 focuses Focuses that is a real word, isn't it? It doesn't sound real. Fuck me, I'm sorry. It focuses on the homeworld and basically a bunch of gem shit, which is great because I remember not ragging on you, but sort of poo-pooing you a bit near the beginning for ragging on towny episodes. But in this series in particular, I get why they could be a bit bothersome because stuff is happening, in between the towny episodes.
Yeah. like we know things are happening, and we just we keep ignoring it to focus on just fun, fluffy stuff. Which it's fun and fluffy, but when you've had 6 of them, can we have plot, please? We like the plot.
Yeah. I mean, Jesus, I remember when we got to Rocknaldo, I even opened the episode rather sourly of being like, it's called Rocknaldo, which means it's gonna fucking focus on Ronaldo. And honestly, the episode was fun, but I didn't think it was gonna be.
No, it was one of those that was pleasantly surprising of A, towny episodes, B, Ronaldo episodes, but both of these are downward marks in my book normally. So it was fighting against the current.
I get where you're coming from there. That being said, we like to keep our episodes short and concise and snappy. This is kind of our one opportunity to sort of waffle a bit more than we would otherwise. So with that in mind, Rick, we did get a bit of a treat in the Rocknaldo episode. In Rocknaldo gave himself a crystal gem name, and his name was Bloodstone.
Yeah.
If you had to give yourself a gemstone as a name, you don't get the associated powers or anything, but you get to pick a gemstone, and that gets to be your alias. What one would you pick?
Oh man, I wasn't prepared for this. I knew that there is one that I like. That's it's not quite aquamarine, but it's a similar color.
Sure.
So I'm gonna see if I can find it.
I'll feel for time. You see, gems are very interesting because they could be used as birthstones, and I'm pretty sure if you dug into, man, this is gonna be so boring. I'm sorry, guys, but I'm feeling for time. I'm pretty sure, and I'm sure the Steven Universe official wiki's probably I say official fan wiki has done it. If you dig into birthstones and meanings, I bet you can associate certain character traits from Pearl and Garnet and Sapphire with birthstones. How are we doing there, Rick, for time?
Reasonable. I'd probably go with Onyx.
Onyx!
I can't find the one that I actually wanted, because it's this turquoise-looking crystal that's really cool and apparently actually pretty cheap if you want to make something out of it. But I can't find what it's called, so I'm gonna fall back on Onyx, which is obviously everyone knows the cool black stone that's black and cool. How about you?
How about me? I actually quite like now it's my turn to struggle. There's a gemstone which I think is technically jasper, but it might be topaz. I don't know. It's called Tiger's Eye.
Yes.
Yes. I think that's cool. And if I could call myself straight up Tiger's Eye, I'm going for it. You know what I'm talking about when I say that, though, right?
Yeah. Because if you can give yourself any weird gemstone name, you might as well go for an actual weird one. We had Holly Blue Agate, which is a very long name for a gemstone. It's like a fucking My Little Pony name at that point.
Oh, Jesus! You're not wrong, but fuck you for saying it.
Yeah, it's one of those things when the first thing I had to get used to when watching My Little Pony was the weird names, and then you just kind of get used to it very quickly. But yeah. So the last 2 episodes, great. We know next season we're going to be going to Homeworld. It's almost definitely going to be the typical Steven Universe formula of between seasons where we end season 4, first episode of season 5 is probably going to pick up straight from it. It would be very weird to break that trend now with this particular finale. Yeah, they and again, they normally solve the thing in an episode. This time it takes more than an episode, as you'd hope with going to fucking Homeworld. But yeah.
Yeah, I know at some point during next season. Let's go over some facts because Rick's seen everything. I've seen bits and pieces. I've not actually seen anything from season 5. Straight up, I don't know what specifically happens. I've heard things and seen people discussing things about what happens. I know about the wedding between Sapphire and Ruby. I'm looking forward to that because that sounds like my type of fluff. I know that they're dealing with the diamond problem. I know about White Diamond. I don't know exactly what their deal is. Obviously, I know about Blue and Yellow at this point, and to a certain extent, I also know the reveal that Pink is Rose Quartz, and I assume that's going to get revealed in season 5.
Yeah.
I also know about a semi-obscure character because it's Rick's favourite character, and he brings her up all the fucking time.
Yeah, Emerald shows up once.
Yeah. I know Emerald exists, and I know she is some form of space pirate.
Yeah, she's like she's a pirate hunter, because Lars is the space pirate.
Well, what the fuck do you mean Lars is a space pirate? I don't want to spoil shit, says Rick.
Yeah. She's the way you find her is she's hunting. You never actually meet her. She's just she's on screen. You know, like Klingons in Star Trek. A lot of the time, they're just on the screen insulting whatever captain.
Yeah, sure.
She's that.
Okay, well, that would have been a fun reveal. Anyway, Rick, do you want to see what our final top 3 looks like on our board?
Yeah, so we've got a joint third between Connie and Garnet.
Okay, I was going to make it a big deal, but I guess we just get... Yeah, you do it. Go for it.
Yeah, so we got a joint third between Connie and Garnet. This, I think, was more of a season where Connie got to shine a lot more. She gets to come into her own. I think part of it was the new Crystal Gems episode. I think one of us gave her an award in that one because she did what she could, which was a lot more limited than what gems can do with their powers. Like even in the Doug episode, I think it was split between Doug and Connie.
Let's see, actually. It was split between, Connie and Doug.
Yep. And Garnet, as always, is putting in the work. I don't think she regularly drops out of the top 3. Obviously, we've had her as number 1 in the past.
I don't think she was in the top 3 for the last season.
Oh, fair enough.
It's one of those where let's put it this way: Garnet would be in second place if we gave Garnet the Sapphire Awards.
Yes.
But it's one of those where we can't do that. That's not how it works. Sapphire is a different character to Garnet.
Yeah, we have 2 awards specifically for Sapphire. Get shit on Ruby, apparently.
Well, again, the episodes where they were split, Sapphire was doing a lot of good, whereas Ruby was just going along with Sapphire's plan.
Yeah.
You know? That being said, I'm going to disagree with you on the Connie point. I don't think this is a series where Connie grew. I just think the episodes with Connie in, no one else really did anything. Like, I know one of Connie's award came from fucking Buddy's book, because I didn't want to give an award to the imaginary rose quartz. Because, I knew for a fact that that's not how shit happened.
Yep. And Rose Quartz even managed to get 2 votes anyway still.
Yeah, I gave her despite being not actually Rose Quartz, I gave her an award in the Storm episode because she was the source of the episode. She was essentially the antagonist.
Yeah, totally.
But it's one of those where, I just wanted to disagree on that point, because Connie's been competent since about halfway through last season.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I can see what you mean. I think season 3 was when she grew the most. Season 4 is when she just applies it, And yeah, between Connie and Garnet, we've got our third place. Second place is Steven.
It would be weird for the titular character not to challenge for first place. I can't remember where he finished in season 2, but I'm pretty sure he was also in the top 3 for there. I know he'd won last season. So
yeah, it's very definitely now in the time of Steven does enough things to actually, earn his own awards. Apparently not this season, because we have another number 1. But yes, he still is a bit more proactive than he was in like season 1.
Well, the thing is that as well, that because Steven is the titular character, he's in pretty much every episode, barring a few very specific examples. But if no one else is stand out, then the award kind of, and it feels a bit mean to say this, defaults to Steven.
Yeah, because he's there and he's always at least receiving the episode, if not performing the episode.
Yeah, pretty much, man. Pretty much. I expect this to change drastically in season 5.
And our number 1, which I would not have predicted this going in, but it was very obvious as we got the episodes, is Greg.
Well, we got to the halfway point and something kind of clicked in your brain where you sort of went, oh yeah, Greg needs more awards. It's one of those weird things where Greg is, I don't know, for some reason some of this fan base shit on him as a dad, and I've not really seen any reason for that, because every time he's on screen he's just generally being a good father figure, if not straight up a good father. It's not even a father figure, he's Steven's dad, he should be a good father, and he is. And
the only reason that he doesn't show up more is because the gems actively kept him out of Steven's life as long as they could, and it's only like within viewable episodes that they've calmed down on that.
It seems like a lot of time during the early life it was the opposite. From flashbacks, Greg was doing the heavy lifting because the gems don't know how to look after a human baby. I'm not saying you're wrong, but it seems like your information's a little off kilter,
Yeah, well, it was one of those that the gems really definitely wanted Steven to be in the gem house with the gems doing gem thing.
No, I'm absolutely sure, but again, it appears to be that from baby age to I don't know, probably at least 12, not 12, probably to at least 8, Greg was doing the heavy lifting parent-wise. That's all I'm saying.
Sure.
Like, I can only speak from what we've seen in flashbacks, and I've not seen a flashback where Greg hasn't been involved to some capacity, you know? One thing I do want to point out with Greg is Greg is always a good dad, even when he's only in an episode for 2 seconds. The only problem is being a good dad doesn't automatically get you the MVP award, because usually the problem is bigger and more destructive than bad parenting.
Yeah, Greg doesn't automatically get it very often, but sometimes he kind of just does, because someone reasonable and warm to just bounce your problem off, and he just says, hey, it's not actually that bad, and I also I get it, is sometimes all the validation that you need.
Like, anyone who's watching this who's over the age of like 20, and I've looked at our statistics and there's not many people younger than that, don't underestimate your ability to help someone just by being older, because I think it's really easy to forget that people who are younger than you do not have much life experience and don't understand that certain things aren't the end of the world.
Yeah, it's it's why 2-year-olds are such a pain in the arse. Like, they've got a lot of emotion and no perspective.
Well, he also can't
Being
talk
older
very well.
gives you, well, yeah, that too. Being older gives you more perspective, because there's the chance that you've seen more things and you've experienced more things, even if you're not, super intelligent or qualified.
All right, using 2-year-olds I think is a bad example. The reason why I'm saying it is I work with a lot of like people between 15 and 18. Not because I'm an educator, because I work in retail, and guess who else works in retail? And the amount of times you overhear or are just straight up told problems, and you got to try not to sort of laugh, and I don't mean that in a dismissive and horrible way. It's just like sometimes you hear a problem and you have to try not to laugh, because you're like, that's not the opposite of a problem, but it's such not a problem.
Yeah, and yet you can also kind of remember when that kind of thing was a problem for yourself. It's like, it's kind of why The In-Betweeners is funny when it's funny, even though it's cringe when it's cringe, which is most of the time.
I've never watched it, so you just keep going with what you're saying. I can't help you.
Yeah, it's basically just that you watching this show about, well, it's a lot like Big Mouth.
Okay, except Big Mouth, there's a certain series you get to and you're just like, this is no longer funny, it's just cringe.
Yeah, but like early Big Mouth, where a lot of the comedy was based around, oh yeah, I remember things being this cringy when I was going through this.
I think the worst it got in Big Mouth, sorry to go on a tangent, was oh fuck me, I forgot most of the characters' names. Is it Jenny?
Jessie?
Jessie. When Jessie got her first period, that is the most uncomfortable I felt, because I've gone like, oh no, how many people have gone through that? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, how unfortunate.
You go from never having to worry about that to like, okay, this is now a part of my life.
Oh, and her mum made her wear the white shorts.
Oh.
Oh no! Oh, I'm getting sick. Oh, I'm getting that feeling again. We're like, oh no, you poor fictional character. but the problem is, you're going poor fictional character, while in the back of your brain you're going like, someone somewhere, multiple people have gone through this though.
Oh, apparently it's like one of the tropes of it's always at the most inopportune time when you can't hide it.
Well, I imagine your first one would be, because you don't see it coming. It's a bit like the Phantom Thieves.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
The Phantom Thieves of Innocence.
You'll never see them coming. Oh, no. And you know how dickheadish teenagers are.
Oh, yeah. If there's a way to tear someone down when you're a teenager, like, someone will take it, because, like, that's how teenagers establish themselves in hierarchy.
I guess. I don't know, man. I was always at the bottom. I never really understood any of that shit. I was glad when I started working, because that shit goes away for most people, and occasionally you'll get someone who's still working out that mindset, and you can't just go, I'm just not going to interact with you then, dude. That's fine.
Yeah.
I was trying to be nice, but if you're going to be a dick, I'll just get on with my job. I can happily tune out the world while stacking shelves. I don't need to help you.
Man, it's even more tragic when you've got like this middle-aged person who's still going by that mindset, treats themselves as a manager when they're just on the same pay grade as you.
Well, it's like there's an expression, Rick. It's at your pay grade.
Yep.
If someone tells me what to do and they earn the same amount as I do, I promptly ignore them. Now, again, there's a distinction here. It's when they tell me what to do. If they ask me to do something, I will probably do it. But if they tell me what to do, it's a prompt, fuck off.
Yeah, there's a bit of bargaining involved as well, really, normally. They're like, if it's, could you do this? We're struggling on this department. Can you give us a hand? Or even just, can you cover this section while we're doing whatever? Like, that's a
not in
request.
Not in my place. In my place, it's every man for themselves. No,
yeah,
it's every department from themselves. I just mean, like, Sorry, if someone asks me nicely to do something, chances are I will do it because you have treated me like a human being.
Yep.
And there's also the caveat of I must not be doing anything important. If I'm doing something important, I'm gonna say no. Not because I don't want to help you, it's because I need to get my job done first. Because I just want my life to be easy. I will do what I need to do to not get an earful for no reason. Boy, this is a fucking tangent from Greg.
But yeah, that's what the listeners are here for. Just our life tangent.
It's one of those where, fuck it, we'll do a final recap and then say goodbye. Does that sound good, Rick?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Alrighty, so in third place, we've got the joint award of Connie and Garnet on 4 MVP awards each. In second place, we have Steven Universe himself with 5. And in first place, we have Greg Universe himself with 7 whole points. Yeah, so the points are based on how many MVP awards they got throughout the season. There were 2 MVP points up for grabs each episode, so a total of 50 points.
Yep, the exception was the double-length episode where there were 4 points up for grabs.
But that was also counted as episode 8 and 9, so the rule still applied.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly. It makes sense. But yeah, no real shockers this episode. There were like usual suspects at the top, really. It was nice to see the Diamonds start appearing on the MVP board, even though Blue Diamond got knocked off pretty quickly.
Yeah, she did. Well, because, yeah, she showed up twice, and she did so little in the second episode that there was no way that she could reasonably get an award in that one.
Oh, she wasn't going to outshine Yellow, not in that episode.
Nah.
I think Yellow Diamond got both awards for us in the only episode she showed up in.
Yeah, because she sang the song.
Well, again, I don't think it was so much her singing the song, so much as her taking a prominent role in the episode, which does happen to encompass, singing the song, but I don't want to think that we give awards out just for singing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Otherwise, Sardonyx will win every award every time she shows up. Even though she doesn't sing, she performs.
I mean, she kind of does, doesn't she? She didn't get the award on her debut episode, because of course she didn't, because it was kind of a poor reasoning for her to show up, and she didn't get the award when she appeared for 2 seconds, because she was on screen for 2 seconds, but she did get the award during her talk show, so but yeah, we're going to wrap up there. This has been Nonstop. This has been our little stopgap between season 4 and 5. Join us again next week, where we'll watch the very first episode of season 5, and yeah, we're on our way to Homeworld, aren't we, Rick?
Yeah, we are.
But until then, toodles.
Ta-ra.